From the crack of dawn to the campfire at night. Whether you're in the woods, on the water, or just dreaming about your next adventure, you're in the right place. This is Tailgate Outdoors.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tailgate Outdoors. I am your host, Dan Casper. As always, don't forget, if you ever miss an episode of Tailgate Outdoors, we are available in podcast form. Just look up Tailgate Outdoors wherever you listen to your podcast, like Apple or Spotify. But it is also available on the Man Cave podcast. The Man Cave podcast, that's got our Tailgate Outdoors episodes, our Packers, Brewers, Bucks episodes, and then we've got other content through the Man Cave podcast. It's kind of your go-to for all of our podcasts. So check that out wherever you get your podcasts, or it's available as well on sportstalk1051.com. We just ask you for a really quick favor. If you listen on Apple or Spotify, if you could, give us a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple, because that's what helps the algorithms get the word out more about the podcast. So anyways, on this episode of Tailgate Outdoors, there's been a lot lately in the news with the outdoors. I mean, recently had a bear attack up in Barron County. A little while ago, we had the story in Wisconsin about the 49-point buck that somebody had tried to submit for a new state record, ended up being essentially a fake and not real in a sense. So I thought it would be a good time, because the DNR has been involved in obviously both of those issues. I thought it would be good to kind of catch up with our buddy, DNR warden, Mr. Jake Bolks, and kind of get the latest, but also a DNR perspective from two of the bigger stories in kind of our area and a little bit outside our area, but it would affect statewide with that 49-point buck and such. So I wanted to catch up with Jake and kind of get the lowdown on that, but also, again, the perspective from his side of things with those two, especially with the bear issue up in Barron County. So without further ado, let's bring in our good buddy, Mr. Jake Bolks. Jacob, how you doing, man? Good to hear from you.
I'm doing good.
Man, I got a lot of stuff that I kind of want to catch up with with you. So first thing, this has been a story that's been in the news the last few days, but up in Barron County with the bear situation, a bear apparently attacking somebody up there. I shouldn't say apparently, attacked somebody up there and was serious. She was able to call 911 and such. Last I heard, they haven't found the bear, correct? Or have they found it yet?
Correct. From what I hear, kind of the same. So I know I've kind of mentioned it before, and it's kind of, it's not as exciting, the news I have to share, but a lot of times when it comes to investigations, unless I'm directly involved in it or my team is, so I'm talking with those wardens, we kind of hear stuff the same time as a lot of the public, unless there's some sort of internal document. And there's nothing been released much on this, but what I have heard talking to the Barron County warden is that the woman is obviously very strong and willed to get to a phone and call 911 and get herself some help. They don't know exactly. She wasn't able to speak yet, so they don't know, at least when I first heard about this, they don't know exactly what had happened or what had transpired, but I think some of the contributing factors are most likely a sow with cubs in the area, because they found some cubs in the tree. She's got a couple dogs. They're in the middle of nowhere. So, I don't know exactly what happened, but one can take a guess that sows, cubs, and dogs played a role in all of it, and just, your natural motherly instincts and such.
And that's what, this time of year especially, right, Jake, with those cubs and such, is that where we see, those sows, for maybe some people who aren't familiar with, where they get just kind of protective of their cubs?
Definitely. So, it's also the time of year deer are the most kind of aggressive as well. It's, everyone's heard, I'm sure most everyone's heard the old, you don't want to mess with Mama Bear. I know my wife's got a couple of T-shirts that say Mama Bear on them. It's definitely something you do. If you see a black bear, 99% of the time they're going to run away. They're more scared of us than we are of them. That whole spiel. But whenever they have their cubs with them, they definitely turn into a more aggressive animal. So if you're ever walking, you see them in your yard, you're hunting, and you see, a sow, a female bear with their cubs, you want to definitely give them some space and get out of the way, because that's a little bit more of an unpredictable situation.
Now, this is rare for, I know, what was it, a couple of years ago, too, back in my neck of the woods, Medford, that bear story where, like, the bear went through the window or something.
Right.
I think. But these are rare instances where we have rare. this violence with black bears in our area, correct?
Very, very rare. Yeah, it's not like it's never happened, because clearly it's happened before. But for the amount of black bears we have in the state of Wisconsin, for the amount of people that are recreating, living amongst them, hunting them, the amount of interactions or attacks or conflicts we have are very, very, very minimal. So I won't let anyone start to think any different about black bears or be concerned about it. But it is just definitely something, just like any animal. I mean, if you go up to a squirrel, potentially, that's acting kind of weird, or got baby squirrels around, you never know. A squirrel can jump on you and start biting you up, and that hurts a lot, So any animal can be aggressive at any point, which is why you always want to be mindful, and why we do preach just to let nature be nature, keep all life wild, and just let animals be animals and us be us.
Mm-hmm.
It's always, you hear people in these situations, and they say, well, the bears, boy, they're moving into our territory. No, it's the other way around. We're moving into their territory. They've been home there a long time, and so a lot of that is not the bears' fault, it's our fault.
That's very true. I mean, no matter how you want to look at it, obviously we need to progress as a society, as ourselves, and buy land and want to build houses, but you're not wrong. As the cities expand, but more, as people build homes 20, 30 minutes outside of cities, in the middle of a 40, you're just moving into nature's home, so you're going to deal with all the animals. Or just like living on a lake. If you live on a lake and you're frustrated with geese, well, you're living right where they live, you built right where they have their nests and stuff, so you got to be cognizant of that, and you got to work with the animals, not against them.
So, Jake, I know you're I don't know if you're involved in the investigation or kind of direct, but like, are they, trying to find a bear? And I guess, the question maybe some people are asking is, how do you know you found the right one? What's the kind of that process like?
Yeah, so I personally haven't been involved with a situation like that. So, depending on who's running it and the different mindsets, it can go anyway. I know if they would have responded day of and found that bear still hanging around in the area, I would take a high probability that they would have dispatched or euthanized that bear due to attacking, and then probably work to get the cubs to a rehabilitator. I think we have one up in the northeast part of the state, which raises its own concern and questions with having cubs, but at this point, it sounds like they used a hound to track the bear, and were unsuccessful that day. So, I mean, without sounding like I don't know what I'm talking about, but I guess your guess is as good as mine as what they actually would be looking for. I'm sure they can. We can definitely compare different images if they were collected, compare different marks or situational information if they found a sow with cubs that's in the area, using people's trail cameras, using different things. We could definitely pinpoint and find the correct bear if that's needed. The question is, are they going to be able to? How hard are they going to run it down? Did the bear just move out of the area after that? Did it get spooked? There's a lot of circumstances that make it kind of unpredictable on what the next steps would be. But from what I understand, after that initial response and the next day, they still haven't really found a bear in that area. And I don't know the area, but I think it's kind of rural. So I don't think they're just in downtown Cumberland or something,
Right. So, I mean, speaking of bear, before we transition to the next, we're getting to that time of year. When can hunters start running dogs? I mean, because we're going to get to that point too, right? I mean, if you're out in the country, you're probably going to hear the dogs in the trucks pretty soon and such, and training in that.
Yeah, no, we're there. We're there with baiting and training and all that kind of stuff. That's coming up here. So, no, you're totally right. For sure, the baiters have been out. I mean, I think it's like April 15th. You can technically start baiting. That's really early, and it gets really expensive. But even if the guys aren't running some of their hounds yet, they're finding their spots. They're out looking, walking the woods, getting their hunting stuff ready. So it comes quick. August is prime time training and baiting, and then right at the beginning of September, it's a big kickoff. So with it being past halfway in July here, you're going to see plenty of trucks ripping around. The county forests get a little bit busier. So be mindful of that.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of pictures and reports are getting? One quick question, Dan.
Yeah.
On the cameras, are you seeing a lot of cats? People showing you a lot of cat pictures?
House cats or
no,
cougars?
mountain lions, those sorts of things.
I haven't. I had one individual give me a call probably about a month ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in northern Eau Claire County, they reported seeing one but didn't have any pictures. So I had them reported online, which I guess is a good reminder. You can if you see some unusual animal like a cougar or a moose or a lynx, if you're ever crazy enough to see a lynx.
Yeah, those sorts of things.
Yeah, you can call your local biologist or game warden. That helps. But actually, if you just Google like DNR unusual animal, there's a form, like a little form you can fill out quick, says where you saw it, who you are, if you had any pictures, any other notable facts, and then that gets sent right to the biologist and stuff, and then they can contact you and work with you to try to corroborate, if there's tracks out there and different stuff like that. So if you do see something interesting, feel free to utilize that on our DNR website as the unusual species reporting document, and that's a good way to report it all to everyone. But I haven't had or heard much on cougars actually this year, which is a little surprising. Maybe good, maybe bad, depending on what you think of cougars, but really haven't had much on them this year.
Jake, switching over to another story that, I think it was first I heard about it in the spring, maybe a little bit earlier, and just a few weeks ago, I believe it was, kind of an update on it. But, this 49-point buck that was submitted as a potential state record. I think it was an event in the Dells in March. Yeah, the Open Season Deer and Turkey Expo in Wisconsin Dells. Individual brought in his mounted buck and said it was a pending non-typical state record for gun, shot it with a muzzleloader. Well, after investigation, it was found to be not real. Like, was it the antlers? I think the individual paid like $600 according to Outdoor Life, and it was mounted on another deer and such. So, kind of a weird story, Jake.
Weird story, yeah. I think I asked about it a little bit after it came out. I think I said something to the effect of like, I wouldn't expect it to last, and it did not. So that one's already kind of through the system there. But yeah, that's kudos to those wardens. They got a bunch of calls on that day one of that thing being at the expo, and they were on it. I think before it all hit Facebook and was jumping around, and there was all these suspicions, I think the wardens had already knew where that deer was from. They did some really good research right away on the game farm it was from, found the pictures of deer alive. But yeah, I can't speak on what everyone's intentions are or their motivation. I guess getting the record books, but that thing is the most unnatural, natural looking deer you'd ever see. So you're right. From what I understand, bought the antlers, just got a different cape, put them on a different mount. The picture that he took of the deer in the field is the mount, and he's just like straddling it.
Yeah.
So it's just, and it's if you're gonna cheat, I guess try to cheat a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
He really didn't put much thought into that. So
Well, 49
So he
points.
definitely got.
The state record has to be what? It's a long way from 49 points.
Right. I think they mentioned it in one of those articles. I think it's like a buck from like the 70s or 90s. I can't remember exactly what the state record is on that. But yeah, you can have a lot of points and not. I mean, it's going to be big if you have a lot of points, but it could be nowhere close to a record. Or you could have less points and it could be closer to the record. The way they score it, with girth, with length, with the lack of deductions and different stuff like that. There's a lot that goes into scoring those, and that's that's a big thing about what made that one extremely obviously not wild. It's not so much just the immense size or even the color, which the color's off. It's just the lack of deductions and like damage.
Mm-hmm.
Like a deer like that can't survive in the woods without beetles, bugs getting on it, without it breaking some tines on trees trying to rub it off, without fighting other deer and everything that comes along with living in the woods as a deer, So the fact that it had almost a pristine rack is like clue number one. Like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah. By the way, the record is 1973 by Elmer Gotts in Buffalo County. It was a 30.253 inches. So not too far from here.
I was just going to say, we do have a 30-pointer in the state, and that's
there's a 30-pointer. There's a 34-pointer shot around here. There's a lot of those deer that actually, until I kind of got into this job, I deer hunted, but I wasn't like way into deer hunting culture. And I guess I never realized how many like 20-plus point deer get shot every single year based off like all the little stickers and this and that are on them. Wisconsin's got a lot of nice deer every single year. So that's pretty insane. But yeah, there's plenty of 20 and 30-point bucks that actually get shot every year, if not many a year. So that's pretty cool. But to have ones that big, to have something stand since 1973 is pretty impressive for that hunter. So that's good. That's pretty cool.
To kind of wrap it up here, Jake, since we're talking deer hunting, I had a news release just a couple days ago that the DNR is seeking volunteers to teach new hunters, like hunter education and even like some advanced hunter education, like outdoor skills and learning to hunt and such. So, I mean, if anybody's listening and they've kind of wondered about hunting but never really, had a chance to maybe go or don't know how to start or don't know how to go, it sounds like there's opportunities in our state for people to kind of learn about hunting and to learn to go hunting.
Tons and tons of opportunities. So the easiest way to relate this is just like refs in youth sports and such. How we have a lack of them. That's what we have with hunter education. Whether you are knowledgeable and want to help, we're looking for that. We need bodies, we need people, we need experienced hunters or teachers or just people that want to help the kids teach hunter ed, teach whatever, some of the online stuff, the advanced stuff, whatever. Even boating, ATV, snowmobile, they reached out specifically for hunting, but all those education, all those safety courses that are required of everyone these days, we need more and more instructors to help teach it. So it's really not that difficult to teach it either. They give you the curriculum, they give you the tools and the processes, they give you the tests, they give you the pens and paper and guns, they give you everything. The DNR will give you everything. They just need people that are interested in wanting to help the youth and, well, not even just the youth, but the adults that want to get into it. We need people to help with that. As well as, like you mentioned, if you're, 10 or 40 and you've never hunted or fished or snowmobiled or whatnot, there's a lot of opportunities for you to learn in a setting that's geared towards learning and understanding and helping. So there's a lot of opportunity in it. And I've always viewed it the last couple of years as just like the referee stuff, or youth coaches sometimes, where we need more of them. At least in this, being a hunter ed, you're not going to have a bunch of parents yelling at you like the refs have to go through. Parents are always very supportive, or they just drop kids off and leave. But the parents usually sit to the class and learn something too. So it's a really good environment. We teach at them as wardens. We show up and present the safety and the regulations portion of it. Some wardens teach a little bit more. Some wardens are hunter-educated instructors when they're not working. But it's a really good class. There's a lot of really good instructors out there, especially in this area with the Eau Claire Rod and Gun, the Westgate, and then there's a lot of other spots in Jackson, Eau Claire, Clark, and Chippewa that have great instructors that just need a little assistance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that Learn to Hunt program is such a cool thing to have here, too, for Wisconsin. And you can find out more info on that by going to the DNR website as well.
Yep.
So,
yeah, if you go to our DNR website, no matter what you're interested in, you go right away to that search bar on the home page, and you type in what you're looking for. You'll find it, whether it's a specific lake, whether it's a specific piece of state property that you wonder if you can ride your e-bike on it, whether you're looking for a hunter safety class or looking for the duck hunting rigs. If you go to that website, or you got to register something, if you go to that website, it can seem daunting at first, but once you navigate it for a couple minutes, you can figure out that you can answer most questions from that website.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Jake, I know we kept you a little long here this morning, but
I like it.
We appreciate it, buddy. Hey, be safe, and we'll catch up again soon with you, okay, buddy?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your week.
To wrap up the show this morning, we want to make you aware that the Wisconsin DNR has published its 2025 hunting and trapping forecasts, which you can find on the Wisconsin DNR's website. But I'll read off a few notes from the deer forecast for a couple of our main areas. For the West Central District, they note in their forecast that, quote, with just a few days of deep snow or below zero temperatures, the winter of 2024 was very mild throughout the West Central District. The western border of the district is mostly within the driftless area of Wisconsin, characterized by steep oak and hickory-dominated ridges with flatter ridgetops and valleys that have agricultural crops. This area is known for excellent antler growth, with some of the highest numbers of Boone and Crockett and Pope and Young entries in the country every year. While most of the driftless area is private land, there are public lands scattered throughout that provide quality hunting opportunities. The eastern side of the district also has an abundance of deer. The mix of agriculture and woodlots provides good deer habitat, with great opportunities for hunters to fill antlerless permits and harvest a nice buck as well. For the northern district, they note that, quote, this year the deer herd has been aided once again by a mild winter, with many areas rarely having over a foot of snow. Along with an almost non-existent winter in 2023-24, recruitment, growth, and health of the deer herd should be superb. Fawn to doe ratio numbers generally took a nice bump in 2024, and that trend should continue this year. This mild winter also will help the mild winter will also help last year's fawns, and we should see more healthy yearlings. We should have 2 good age groups of deer in the woods this fall. So again, you can read the entire deer forecast for the entire state of Wisconsin and all the districts by heading to the Wisconsin DNR's website, and you can check out the trapping forecasts as well. That's going to do it for us on this episode of Tailgate Outdoors. Again, don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Tailgate Outdoors or the Man Cave podcast to catch up on our other episodes. Until next time, I'm Dan Casper. Be safe and have fun in the great outdoors.